Now I gotta ride or die.
So guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, as you can see behind me, we have something a little bit weird, probably the weirdest thing you're going to see on the internet today. This is a SKODA FELICA from the factory. Now, before I go ahead, I know there'll be a lot of people out there that will not understand what is going on here. Why have you done this? Now, this is a cheap, fun, non-expensive build, which I try and go over here and there on the channel. You don't have to have loads of money to have something relatively random and cool in your stable, and this is a prime example of that. I'm going to take you guys through it and explain what this is and why it looks this way, because the story behind this car is pretty cool. Now, this is a SKODA FELICA fun. So it is a pickup truck from the factory that SKODA bought out early 2000s. Very, very strange thing though, because not a lot of people, I feel, bought these or went through with the purchase and don't really know a lot about them. But this thing is a pickup truck, but as you can see just here, it actually has 4 seats. So a very interesting and slightly weird car. Now, we love weird on this channel. I love weird. So we're going to get into this thing and explain to you what this is. Now, this car was bought for just £300. Yes, £300, but it was a pretty much bare shell. It had the engine and it had the interior, but running gear and all the various stuff to actually make this thing go had been sacrificed for painting and various other things. So it was actually bought for just £300 in a completely, relatively bare shell state. So it needed engine bits doing, it needed interior putting back together, it needed full underneath sorting out, pretty much everything needed to be done. Now, the guy that owns this actually owns a really, really nice Supra that he's building. He needed something, you know, fun, dailyable that wasn't expensive. So the idea was to buy something and then not put a lot of money into it. This is where this car came up for sale, obviously in its relatively bare shell form, and he decided to put his knowledge to the test and try and make this, you know, a daily drivable MOT'd so he could use, you know, when he needed to. So this meant that he could take this and then use it on a daily basis, but he wanted something fun, something weird and something different. Now, I'm going to get onto the paintwork because there's going to be a few people out there that be like, why have you destroyed this thing? These are going up in value. You know, a mint one of these is going for around £4,000 these days, which is crazy money considering not a lot of people know what these cars are. So this was actually yellow underneath. So if we come up, is the original yellow paint underneath, but it had been painted white by the previous owner many years ago, so didn't come out as well as the owner wanted to. The owner now, he wasn't that keen on how it looked. In fact, it could do with a new repaint. This is when he decided to go for the rat look, which used to be, again, a massive thing in the car scene, say 10 years ago now. This is an old school way of making a car look different, where you just sand it down and make it look a little bit rattier than it does at the present time. You know, a lot of the old hot rods used to go down this route, mainly down to condition of age and paint and stuff, because obviously paints were flakier and not as good back in the day. So, you know, a lot of early Model A's, like my Cadillac as well, that's all been patinaed, but over time. This was obviously forced patina, and it was basically done so it wasn't just a block white, terribly painted car. He wanted to go and do something a little bit different, and I feel he's pulled it off. I don't think you want to put, again, loads of money into this thing. And I think he did quite a good job just going around and sanding stuff down and making it look this way, and then putting old school stickers on top, like the Rusties from the Cars sticker on the side, old school Castrol logo and SO1 at the back. It just sort of works with the whole look and theme of the truck. Coming round the back, a monster can rear tailgate exhaust system. Now, this exhaust system is actually from his Evo. This was sat around and he actually just made it fit to this SKODA, because again, it didn't have a proper exhaust system, so he went with one that was just lying around. Also, these are actually off a Pulsar. So he had a Pulsar many moons ago, and these were actually sat in his garden, and he thought, well, they look relatively patinaed and, you know, a little bit ratty. Let's put some good tires on them. He actually got free with another set of wheels, so this wheel and tire setup is completely free. Do you see where I'm going with this, where there was not a lot of money put into it? Anybody watching this video can go ahead and go and do something like this with pretty much anything. Now, going into the actual bed, we'll just unzip this, show you guys. this, which is the bed floor, which is of course AstroTurf, because again, there was free AstroTurf, so made use of the freeness of the AstroTurf there, as you can see in the back, just at the sides. Now, this bit is a convertible section of this SKODA Fun that actually folds up, and you can press this all back in so it locks in, or you can have it out like this and put 2 extra people in the back. Again, a very strange and weird thing to have from a manufacturer, but this was actually a standard thing that this car came with at the time. Coming into the inside, as we see, these actually came with a yellow and grey interior. Very, very strange, but of era, you know, they were yellow from the factory. So you have yellow door cards, you have yellow and grey with frogs with a crown on it. Random, I know, but everything is yellow. So even the gear knob is yellow, the handbrake is yellow, and as you can see, the steering wheel is actually yellow, leather trimmed from the factory. And of course, because again, there was a car mat sat around, had to go for the car mat floor mats just for a laugh more than anything. Again, a completely free option, could be ripped out whenever you fancy. So yeah, I've got no hate on cars like this. I know a lot of people out there will hate the idea that someone would have the ingenuity and the idea to go and make something out of nothing, which is exactly what this is. In fact, look, it's even got the Nismo caps on the caps there from his Pulsar at the time. So yeah, really interesting and slightly weird car, this. I know there'll be a lot of people out there that will not understand why you would do this to a car. I see it, it's a very cheap way of having something fun. But what we're going to do is jump in this thing, go and see what it's like to drive with all of the mods, like the lowering suspension and that exhaust. See what it's like to drive, because I've never driven one. Example of the fact that you don't have to have loads of money to have a little bit of a laugh in cars. This was built for nothing, and I understand there's so many people out there that won't understand that, and that is what frustrates me sometimes about cars like this. This is showcasing the fact that anybody with any size checkbook, come and have a laugh if you have an imagination. And that's sometimes overlooked, sometimes, especially on the internet. It's overlooked a lot, because not a lot of people would look at this and go, oh, I get what you've done there, that's pretty cool. Like, why not? Do you know what I mean? For the sake of 600 quid, I think my fuel pump for my RS3 cost me 600 quid. That's what I'm saying though, cars like this, it's just a laugh. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. And I know people will take this seriously, and that's such a shame. That's not the idea of this. For the sake of 600 quid, say, or under £1,000, this thing is a riot. It's so much fun. It's just funny. And if you can't see that, if you can't see past the comedy aspect of doing something like this to a car, what can I say? What can I say? Not about having a laugh in cars, but what's it like to drive? An old school feeling, you know, VW product at the end of the day. That's what this really is. It feels super tight to drive. It's been looked after in a way though. The owner now has, you know, completely gone through the car and made sure that he's bought something that can daily drive, that can do the commutes and all this sort of stuff. And underneath the shell of this, you know, you could buy this when it's for sale and paint it if you so wish to. And I challenge anybody out there that if you do see this for sale and you don't like it and you do want one, buy it and repaint it yourself. The actual shell and, you know, the underneath of this car, it's got 68,000 miles on it, this thing. The actual car itself is actually a really good version of the SKODA FELICA Fun. And it's been off the road for 5 years. That's why it sort of came to be in the owner now's possession. Is because it came up as basically a scrap car. It was gonna get scrapped. So I know there's people out there, and I'm gonna defend this car to a point where I don't understand why you do the paint like that, but at the end of the day, this was ready to go to the scrapyard, this car. So in a way, it has actually been saved. Yes, you can repaint cars, but underneath, this car is actually a genuinely nice version of itself. Seeing past the, you know, scratched down paint, and maybe some people don't like that, it's just an honest, old school, cool, weird car, like pickup, 4-seater convertible thing. It's like it's everything to all people, but it drives really nice. It's tight. It's actually rather enjoyable to drive as well. It's pretty good at cornering and actually relatively comfy as well for what it is. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry about this weirdness that I'm driving today. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I like weird. I like just strange things. I just do. It's one of those things. And if you can build something like this for the sake of sub £1,000 with your mates from old car parts, I am all about it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, again, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you all on the next one.